What's going on YouTube? You know who it is. Subscriptions video for this week. Before I start that, I just want to say something about the all the stuff that's going on in the community right now. About fake geeks or whatever. I don't care what other people do. I do what I love, and that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm not getting involved in any type of drama or anything. If there's a video that I would recommend watching that has to do with it, would be Oddfellow Thoughts, Travis's video, because I pretty much agree with everything he said. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Have 14 books this week. Fairly light week for me, if you know what I get. And all around, some damn good books. Jumping right into it, which almost was pick of the week, but something beat it out. We have Avengers AI, number 2. Absolutely love this title. Even though it's only number 2, I really enjoy the way it's going. Even though basically every character in here is an android, or is a robot, or some type of artificial intelligence, they're written so well that they're the most robotic characters, but they seem more human than any characters in any other book. The interaction between them is so human, although they're talking about inhuman things. Like, they're talking about just their processes and all sorts of stuff like that. But this main villain we're introduced to is Demetrios, and he has inhabited one of Tony Stark's old Iron Man suits. I guess he inhabited... I don't know if he's, like, in the AI of it, or if he is in it physically. I think he's just in the AI of it. But he has this whole AI army, and they're trying to wage a war. They use a new version of a Sentinel that's not used to hunt mutants, but used to bring down countries that harbor mutants, or something along those lines. Vision ends up taking him down. Vision's extraordinary displays of powers in this book blows my mind. He has all these new powers that we've never seen explored before. Sam Humphries is just unbelievable in this book. He the power he shows in this one is, as we saw in the last one, his whole body turned into like nanites, just all little pieces that he could all control. Well, they showed his fingertip, and they zoomed in on his fingertip, and one little piece of him flew off, went inside of this giant Sentinel, and ended up restructuring his AI and putting a little bit of Vision's own AI inside of him. So he became self-aware and didn't know what he was doing. But just awesome all around. I love his title. You need to hop on this. It's only $2.99, so it's worth a shot. Check it out. Next we have Swamp Thing number 23, and we have the continuation of the whiskey tree that kind of turns people into devious, murdering fools, which alcohol seems to do to some people. But it was planted by this man named the Cedar, and we have John Constantine affected by it, who has become the king of all of them. He is rolling them, I guess, and Swamp Thing is in jail, just kind of torn apart. Constantine set a spell that made him not have touch with the green. He can't feel the green, he can't have control of the green, so he's kind of just laying there. He ends up reassembling himself, and the green helps him. So the green kind of shuts up, or kind of knocks out Constantine, so the spell's gone, and we have Swamp Thing coming back to kind of stop everything that they was trying to do. Upon going back to the swamp, I think he went back to the swamp, he runs into the character we saw earlier and says that the Cedar was here looking for you and left you a message, and it said, "It's time, Professor." So either we have somebody that knows about Alec Holland's past, or we have somebody that is a part of Alec Holland's past. Either way, I really like this book, but Villains Month, we won't see another one of those for 2 months, I think, because Villains Month will start, and I believe it's Arcane, and I don't know if I'm going to be picking those up. Superior Spider-Man number 15. The last issue, he took down Shadowland, just pretty much destroyed it. Kingpin had a plan for him not being killed, so, Kingpin's presumed dead, but he's not. Spider-Man learns that Hobgoblin escaped, and is wondering how he's always slipping away from his spider bots and everything. And if you've been reading it, you know that it's because Green Goblin put a hack in Spidey's system that it will not attack or recognize anybody with a Goblin mask on. But we have more and more people seeing that it doesn't seem like Peter Parker, that it's somebody different, that it's not acting the way Peter would. We have Mary Jane wondering and calling, and because her club was burnt to a crisp and he never even showed up to ask how it was. So many different things. But at the end of this, Spidey is, he put a tracker on Hobgoblin. He actually ran into him, and he ends up losing him. Hobgoblin kind of loses his clothes, throws his clothes away, and goes back to his normal self. Spidey overhears, I guess, what his name is, and then he goes across all of TV, all of broadcasting, and says his name, and that's the final panel in this. I love Doc Ock as Spidey. I can't wait to see what happens when they figure it out, because they're going to. And every issue so far, 1 through 15, has been a fun ride. And no, code is not available for that. Another one that could have been pick of the week, because I absolutely loved it, is Deadpool Kills Deadpool number 2. We have the regular 616 Deadpool trying to protect other Deadpools, but kill the Deadpool who's been killing everything from the Ideaverse and whatnot. And it is awesome. There's many different Deadpools that pop up in this. The last issue we saw, Golden Age Deadpool and Pulp Deadpool, that Deadpool never encountered himself. This is hard to talk about because they're all Deadpool. In this one we have his name's Pandapool, and he's just like a panda bear, as a Deadpool, obviously. We also find out that the Watcher that's in charge of watching all the Deadpools is slightly crazy from watching all the Deadpools, and he kind of made this happen. It's a little weird. But the final panel of this, spoilers, is Galactuspool. When it showed up, I was blown away. It was awesome. I love reading this. I love what Colin Bunn's doing. Like I said before, if the writers are leaving Deadpool, if Jerry Dugan and Brian Posehn are leaving Deadpool, bring Colin Bunn on, because he knows how to write Deadpool. Any Deadpool. I don't even care what Deadpool is. He knows how to write them. Next we have the $4.99 wrap-up of Dial H. This is Dial H15. And this book is kind of the epitome of what the whole series was. For me, at least. It opens up, and I'm enthralled, and I'm loving it. And it's climbing, and it's awesome. And then it levels off, and I don't care. I don't care what's going on. And then it dropped, and I did not care at all. I didn't want to read it anymore. And then at the end, it picked up, and I was intrigued again with the last couple pages. We have a lot of returning characters from the first couple issues when it was good, but like kind of fused together. I really enjoyed that. All in all, though, I think they tried too hard. Dial H is continuing in something during Villains Month, I believe. I think it's JLA, but I'm probably not picking that up. I'm so sad to see this book go. But I'm not sad to see the book it became go. I'm sad to see the book that it started off go, because I loved that book, and it just slowly went downhill. And then I hated it. And, I mean, like I said, this book represents the entire series for me. I don't recommend picking it up, especially not for $4.99. All New X-Men number 15. Nothing really fantastic in this. A few quick little fun scenes where you have Rachel Grey returning to the Xavier School and meeting with Jean Grey in the hallway. They kind of read each other's minds, have a weird encounter, and then go away. Obviously, Rachel Grey is the daughter of Jean Grey and Scott Summers from the Days of Future Past timeline, which I've never really read. The first couple times I saw Rachel Grey, I thought she was somehow Madeline Pryor or a clone. I don't know. It really confused me. So I actually looked it up, and that's why I know that fact I just stated, because I had to look it up. But it would be nice for them to go on and tell us more about what they saw in each other. We also have Wolverine and not Wolverine. We have Cyclops, young Cyclops, and young Bobby Drake out on the town chatting up women, well, girls, I guess, and just it was a fun book, but there was really nothing solid to it. It was kind of just, I don't know. I felt like there was nothing to it. It was just kind of progressing. There was no story progression. That's what it was. No story progression. It just kind of, hey, look at the lives of these guys. Although there was a really fun part where Hank is trying to teach Jean about her powers, and she kind of just takes apart a motorcycle. She closes her eyes, and every bolt is out, and then that's when Cyclops and Bobby Drake end up scaring her, and she drops it all. But while that's happening, Beast is reading the book, but also looking at Jean Grey and thinking, why didn't I tell her I loved her when I was younger? Jean Grey accidentally reads his mind, and then goes and talks to old Beast before he's mutated, and they end up kissing, and it looks like they may form some type of relationship, because Jean said she's not in love with Scott, but then at the end she goes back in the room and she's holding the wedding invitation. So I don't know where that's going. Digital code available, so shoot me a message if you want it. It was interesting, though. Next we have Stormwatch number 23. I feel like Jim Starlin knew what I wanted and just threw this issue out of nowhere to give to me, because at the beginning they explained more about Midnighter, which I didn't know, and then they explained more about the Weird, which I kind of knew but I wasn't sure, and then they explained the Collective. I feel like all my bitching about the first couple issues of this, where I said, who are these people, what are they, what's going on, I feel like he heard me somehow and put this issue out just for me, because I know a lot more about what's going on now. I guess the Collective are like, they can control any timeline, just wipe timelines clean. But the last timeline they wiped out, that girl, I can't remember her name offhand, Soul, something Soul, she came and she actually killed members of the Collective, which they didn't know was possible. And I'm liking this now, although, as you know, Villains Month's coming up, and I won't see another Stormwatch book for 2 months, and I don't think I'm going to pick up any type of Villains Month for Stormwatch. Now we have Avengers number 17. This is the final part of the Prelude to Infinity. Another book that really didn't have much story progression. I feel like these first 17 issues were just introducing us to these people that they wanted to be Avengers. This whole series, even though I've loved it, even though I've loved a lot of it, I feel like they just wanted to introduce us to these people, and they made these storylines up just to introduce us so they could be Avengers. We have Ex Nihilo, or whatever his name is, the guy with the crazy horns. This guy, no. That's not the horns that they have, and it's not a female. Either way. He's an Avenger now. We have Starbrand, I think it's Starbrand, coming in to be an Avenger now, and they're all joining the team. They just keep talking about the Avengers getting bigger. And how big are you going to get? How many people can you possibly get in the Avengers? Honestly. I can't wait for Infinity, though. Hopefully it's a change of pace. Hopefully something picks up. Because when I hit the final page of this and it said End of Prelude, in my head I thought 17-issue Prelude, but they just meant the Prelude of Infinity, so I was okay with that. Digital code's already spoken for on that one, so not available. Green Arrow, number 23. This is only like the 3rd or 4th issue this I've read, and I think I hopped on in the middle of some arc. I didn't really know what's going on. But I really enjoy it. The art in it reminds me of The Flash in a way. And not as the same art, but as all the art has movement to it. And the movement it's not like a static per page movement. It's a movement that moves the story along better. And that's what I like to see. Wonderful parts in here about, I can't even remember this girl's name. Either way, the Komodo killed Oliver's dad. See, I'm just figuring this out myself because I'm not super familiar with anything Green Arrow. Komodo killed Oliver's dad and stole the baby, which is actually his half-sister that is her daughter. I don't know what's going on. Count Vertigo shows up, doesn't have control over his powers. I liked it, though. I really like this book, even though I don't really know what's going on. Hopefully, the more I read, I'll understand more, and I'll enjoy it even more. Earth 2, number 15. They just start throwing characters at us. I mean, there's a Earth 2 Mr. Miracle now. I guess, is there a Mr. Miracle in the New 52? Because I don't think I've ever seen him. Well, in the regular Earth, Earth 1, or whatever Earth it's called. But Mr. Miracle Earth 2, we have just many characters thrown at us in this. And I like where it's going because of the war between Steppenwolf and everybody else. I like what Hawkgirl's doing. There's 2 more characters coming in now. One's name's Melody, and the other is something or other. I don't know. But Melody's like a bard, and I like seeing, musical characters sometimes. But yeah, they were just throwing so many characters at me, and at the end I was like, what did I just see? I really wasn't sure. But Red Tornado shows up at the end and says that everybody must halt, I like where it's going. It's a fun book. I'm not dropping it. I just wish I knew the reason that some of these characters are just popping up out of nowhere. Iron Man 14. At the end of the last issue, we had the Rogue Recorder 451. Almost just spilled my coffee. The Rogue Recorder 451 going to plug Tony, or try to plug Tony into the God Killer armor, kind of for his own benefit. Tony escapes when Death's Head shows up to claim the recorder. Tony doesn't really escape because they're trapped in the armor, flying through space with no pilot, because Tony is supposed to be the pilot. As Death's Head tries to kill the Recorder, all the Recorder does is kind of control him, and just has mental control over him. He still has all his faculties, though. Like, he can still talk and say what he wants, but he can't control what he does, because those are the orders he was given, because Death's Head is a cyborg. Eventually, it backfires, because Death's Head tells Tony his armory is there, and then Death's Head kind of grabs onto the Recorder and flies down a shaft saying, "I'm protecting you," which is, I mean, he was able to help Tony, still staying in the parameters of his programming, and it was awesome. Then we have Tony trying to save a world that the Recorder has pointed the armor at to try to get Tony to pilot, and as Tony tries to pilot it, he says it won't work. He says it won't work, and they end up destroying millions of people. Second planet blown up in 14 issues. And next we have the armor, the God-Killer armor, pointed at Earth. So is Tony going to control it? What's going to happen? Is there going to be a final battle between Recorder and Tony? Interesting way Tony got away from the Recorder's programming was he told Pepper to shut down. In his suit, he said leave it on manual or leave it on machine mode rather than AI computer mode. And he kind of hot-wired a phaser or whatever the blast is. I can't recall right offhand. But at the end of this, when you flip the last page, I show you what the next cover is going to be. You have the Recorder sitting on like a throne of armors, with all the old Iron Man helmets at his feet. It's a gorgeous cover. I can't wait to get it because it looked awesome. Digital code available for that if you're interested. Cable and X-Force number 12. I absolutely love this book. I love that they brought Cullen Bunn in to have time travel expertise almost. Cullen Bunn, why don't you just write a non-fiction book about time travel? Because I feel like you're that educated on it that you can, and I would read it all the time. But now to the book. First off, the relationship between these two, Domino and Colossus, couldn't love it more. I love the dynamic between the two, I love the conversation between the two, and I can't wait to see where their relationship goes moving forward. The second part of the storyline in this, Hope was transferred to the future by Blacksmith to see what the future would be like. She runs into a female Strife. Strife is, if you didn't know, the old Strife, not the female Strife. The old Strife was a clone of Cable who kind of tried to control the world. Either way. This new Strife tells Hope that her and Blacksmith hijacked Cable's mind so he could see the things that are going to affect the world to prevent what's in her future from happening. And that's what's going on. As you have Domino and Colossus fighting these demon hordes, they're being... Hope and Strife are being attacked by robotic demons. And after Colossus and Domino kind of exterminate this demon horde and take care of the situation, they disappear from the future. At the end, Hope's just asking questions, and Strife said, you wanted to know who did this to you? And she takes off her helmet, and it's an older Hope. She said, you did. Hope is Strife. Unbelievable to me. Mind blown. Cable is still in Avengers Mansion, talking to Alex about, I don't know what. Also, I saw a moment in here where they had Cable's like robotic arm, but there was still a hand behind it. And I thought Cable's arm was all metal. I've loved Cable for a while. I feel like I know Cable. And I'm just wondering if that was a little art mistake. If I caught that, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just like a Y or something. But it looked like his hand was there. And it was weird to me. But please read this. It's incredible. Take the digital code and check it out before you buy it yourself, I guess. Action Comics 23, Cosmic Deathmatch. This issue was awesome. This character was awesome. I'm kind of sad that it went away so fast. But first, let me start at the beginning of the issue. Superman was greeted by this alien before, and it looked like he was kind of just destroyed by this alien. This alien's teammates show up, and Superman kind of just destroys them all, except for the Queen, I guess. The Queen goes on to tell us that she's here to fight this Lexus character, who's just the devourer of, I don't want to say worlds, because they didn't say worlds, I think life, the devourer of life in the universe. And he shows up, this female character goes to tell us about how it's her brother who had an evil heart. Her dad killed him, threw his heart into space, and his heart had so much evil that it brought in all of the pieces of the worlds he's destroyed and created a body. wow, that was awesome. I think it's one of the greatest characters I've seen in a long time. I love that theory. And he's a magic-based character. I guess he had so much black magic and evil in his heart that he was able to do that. Superman ends up killing him, being Superman. And I wish it would have been more, though. I wish this character would have been stronger or would have been a few issues of dealing with him. But I guess we can't do that because Villains Month's coming up, and don't know if I'm picking up those. But I will be reading Action Comics 24, which is like, what, 2 months away? Now the pick of the week. You need to be reading this book. Superior Foes of Spider-Man #2. The difference between Boomerang, when he's Boomerang, and when he's a human in this book is mind-boggling. When he's Boomerang, he's just an idiot. When he's a normal human, he's a normal human. He's not being a superhero. He goes over his troubles of being a well, I guess it's not a hero, super villain. He goes over his troubles of being a supervillain, from dealing with lawyers to the biggest problem, dealing with the Punisher, because he could kill you. There's actually a moment in here where Punisher breaks up something they're doing, but it ends up being Chameleon threatening Boomerang to get him his take or something. The head of Silver somebody. I don't think I've heard the name before, but it's not clicking of what it is. But I like the interaction between the team. I like the talking. The talking is so genuine. The conversations is so genuine. The dialogue between each other is so real. You would almost believe you were in here. I absolutely love it. I love the way Boomerang is written in this. They could spin off of this and just have a Boomerang book, and I would definitely read it. I really do love this book. Boomerang is on parole at the end of this. Well, he had a parole violation, and his lawyer, he's talking to his lawyer about what they should do. He ends up, telling him his whole long story about how he's changed. He goes to a psychiatrist. They say, all right, we're going to try something new. We'll give you a parole officer. His parole officer is none other than Abe. Either way, Mach 6. I think he's Mach 6 in this, and that's awesome. I feel like Boomerang. I don't know if they're going to bring it up, but Boomerang and Mach 5 were on, or Mach 6, whatever he is. They were on the Thunderbolts together, and that was one of my favorite series. The Male Beetle was involved. I think the Shocker was for a tiny bit, and Speed Demon. Speed Demon is also trying to hook up with this Beetle character who likes the other character, who I'm not even familiar with. I feel bad because I don't even know right now. But, I mean, there's just some good conversation between the two, some good banter. Please read this book. You will not regret it. It's such a fun read. Boomerang gets wasted in this and says, what's all the racket? And Punisher pretty much is just cleared the place out. Even though it's Chameleon, I spoiled it for you. Read this book. It's incredible. Pick of the week. Thank you guys for watching. MSKI, I can't remember the numbers. Either way, the winner of my contest, I'm adding some more books to what I'm sending you. So it may still be a little bit before I get that shipped out, but I'll definitely let you know. I've been saying I'm getting a what's in the not a what's in the box, but a red box run through up for a while. I'm going to record that tomorrow without any delays. I will record it tomorrow. It should be up tomorrow. Let me know what you guys thought about this this week's books. Let me know if there's books that came out this week that I should be reading. I really appreciate you watching it, and as always, guys, have a great day.